in 1 minute. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Next, today we're going to have a bunch of very exciting talks and panels. Next, we have Seraya from Web3 Foundation grants. So if you're building, you know who to talk to. Give a round of applause for Seraya.
Thank you. So I'm Seraya from the Web3 Foundation in Switzerland. Me myself also live in Switzerland. So the Web3 Foundation, many people are always asking me what is actually the relationship between polkadot and the Web3 Foundation. So I just want to talk about that briefly. So Gavin Wood, which is one of the co-founders of Ethereum, actually came up with the term Web3 back when he was working on the polkadot white paper, and that's why he created the Web3 Foundation. And that's also the entity that organized the token sale back in 2017 for polkadot. So this is why the Web3 Foundation is very much focusing on the polkadot technology and Web3. So first of all, I want to give you a quick overview of what to expect. So mostly I will be talking about polkadot 1.0, so that's the current state of polkadot. Then I will introduce you to some features that are upcoming in the near future, so still polkadot 1.x. And finally I will briefly mention polkadot 2.0, which is more in the distance and more visionary. So polkadot is actually more than just a blockchain, because per definition it is 45 blockchains currently, so it's a whole network of blockchains. The way it works is that you have all these layer 1 blockchains that roll up to something that we call the relay chain. So that's basically the main chain that connects all the parent chains. So they just connect the state root to the relay chain. And then they get something that we call shared security. So all these layer 1s, they actually don't need to have their own huge sets of validators. They just need like a handful of them, and because the relay chain is secure, and because they roll out the relay chain, the whole network is actually secured. So that is made possible by something that is called Substrate, which is part of the Polkadot SDK. So that's a framework for developing app-specific blockchains in Rust. So all these parachains actually are written using this framework. Another thing you can do on Polkadot, you have cross-chain messaging. So we have a format that is called XCM. Currently we have an average of 2,000 transactions per week, and there have been over 500,000 of transactions in total that have been sent back and forth between different parachains, between parachains and the relay chain. So all these parachains, they do very different things, like they can be indexes. There's one that focuses on integrating Bitcoin. There's DeFi stuff, real-world assets, EIDs, fundraising platforms. So all kind of different projects on this network. It is proven to be very scalable and reliable, and a project called the Dot Ordinals. That's like a polkadot encryption project, so similar to what was going on or still is going on Bitcoin. And during the peak in like December 2023, there have been more than 1,000 transactions per second and millions of transactions per day. And the network did a good job managing it, so we didn't have any problems. And it wasn't even enough for the fee adjustment algorithm to kick in, which is supposed to kick in once the network gets like too digested. Yeah. So another thing that you can do on polkadot is OpenGov. So OpenGov is our on-chain governance system. It is arguably the world's largest and most decentralized DAO. So there is also a treasury that is managed by this DAO. Currently, it holds around or more than 38 million dots. So that's currently around 350 million US dollars. And yeah, whoever wants to contribute and be compensated for that can hand in a proposal, so suggest what they want to do, and then the community is going to vote on it using their tokens. So that has already been live for a while, and that's also working great. And another thing, another good use case for that is the technical fellowship. So those are a bunch of core developers, and they are actually getting paid through the treasury. So it's not like a centralized entity paying them, and also they don't have to do this for free. So they get compensated by the network and the treasury, and they even have a sophisticated ranking system. So the more reputation they build, the more they contribute, the higher their rank goes, and the higher the salary goes. And that's all on chain. That's transparent and managed by the community through the something that we call the collective system chain. So we have also these system chains or common good chains. And other system chains include the asset hub that is more concerned about hosting assets and bridging assets between different networks, and also the bridge hub. Right. Then and the next thing I want to talk about is forkless upgrades. So if you build on polkadot, you will be able to do forkless upgrades. That's in contrast to other blockchains where you have to update your nodes with the new version of the node program. So that's not necessary on polkadot because first of all you have on-chain governance, which allows you to propose protocol changes. So you would propose a new runtime to be deployed, and then once the community approves it, it will be automatically rolled out on the validators. And from a technical point of view, that's possible because Polkadot and all these parachains, they compile to a WASM binary, and this WASM binary is actually part of the blockchain state. So because of that, once you vote, it will be automatically installed onto so that the WASM binary is going to be replaced, and then the node already runs on the new version of the runtime. So that's a very powerful feature because also it avoids forks, hard forks, which split the community. I guess the only downside I can see is that you cannot have there are a lot of frequent updates, so you're not going to have like huge launch parties for like a huge fork that succeeds. But I guess that's a good trade-off to make. And also we have the Kusama network. So Kusama is the sister network of Polkadot. It's more experimental than Polkadot. So one of the slogans associated with it is expect chaos. So the delivery pipeline usually for parachains and polkadot is that first they would deploy on a testnet before they would then deploy Kusawa, which is the canary net. So, hello? So actually there is economical value on this network. It's not just worthless tokens. So you can also make economical experiments, and it's not just limited to like technical testing. So that's also something that is quite unique to polkadot, I think. Then finally, if you choose to build on Substrate or the Polkadot SDK, but you do not want to leverage all of these benefits, because maybe it doesn't fit your use case, maybe you have some reason to do it differently and you don't need shared security, then something you can do is you can run a solo chain. So then, of course, you will be responsible for creating a consensus algorithm and a validator set that is safe enough for your users. But that's possible because this framework is very flexible. So here's a list of different projects that actually use Substrate. Some of them are still work in progress. Some of them have been rolled out. Some of them have even hundreds to $1 billion of market cap evaluations. Yeah. So that's it for the first part. So this is what Polkadot currently is. In the next part, I'm gonna introduce you to some upcoming features that are already being tested and rolled out. So first of all, asynchronous backing. So backing is the mechanism for rolling up the parachains to the relay chain. So to connecting the two and making sure that it's safe. Currently, this is done in a synchronous way, and this process takes around 12, or it takes 12 seconds actually. So because the block time on the relay chain is 6 seconds, it means that it takes 2 blocks to be secured. So this is what I mean here by synchronous backing. So once the backing is over, you can start backing the next block. And with the new model, it's going to be possible to do this asynchronously. So before actually that block is fully backed, you can already start backing the next block. So that way we can double the throughput because, yeah, as you can see, it only takes, you can do 2 blocks in 12 seconds rather than 1. And also what it allows us, or what it allows the nodes on the parachain side to do is they have 4 times more time. So instead of half a second, they now have 4 seconds due to several optimizations to suggest the block that will be included in the relay chain. So if we multiply these 2 factors, we actually end up with 8 times more block space. So this is how Polkadot is going to scale better by 8 times in the very near future. So this is being tested and being rolled out. Most of the code exists, but yeah, it's not fully live yet. Then another feature that is upcoming is agile core time. So core time is basically just the word for block space on Polkadot, right? So, right, the definition is that 1 core equals 1 parachain. So if you, as a chain, have 1 block, 1 core all the time, then you can be secured all the time. In the existing setup, how it works is that you will have to go through an auction, and you will have to win something called the parachain auction that secures your connection to the relay chain for 2 years. But this is going to be much more flexible with the new model. So it's going to be possible to fractionalize the core into flexible time frames. So you can even just purchase you can either purchase in bulk for 28 days and then do another 28 days, or you can resell them into the market or purchase from these second market sellers that purchase bulk core time. So that way you can buy up to just single usage even cores. So if you just want to secure your parachain less often and make it cheaper but less secure as a trade-off, then that's something you can do. And it will allow the projects to be much more flexible, and it will lower the barrier of entry. So I expect a lot of more projects to come to the polkadot ecosystem due to this new feature and improvement. So the marketplace is going to be NFT based. We already went running out of time. So then we also have the B3 lifetime. So that's going to make it possible to bridge Polkadot to the Ethereum network, and that is made possible by creating kind of a compatibility layer for the two networks to make their signature schemes compatible, because they use different block signing algorithms. There is an implementation called Snowbridge, so they are in the process of building this bridge, and they're going to use this B3 Litecoin that is just, it's a Litecoin deployed on an Ethereum smart contract that then connects the Polkadot network. And the Snowbridge side on the Polkadot side is going to live on the bridge hub. So one of the system chains that I mentioned earlier. Then just very quickly, so what does the future, the distant future look like? Polkadot 2.0, it basically will be a ubiquitous computer that is running in a safe and decentralized way, and that allows you to execute pretty much any program. And it's even possible to execute it over multiple blocks. And this is actually gonna be, or that's the current vision at least. Chain is going to make that possible, and that's something that a concept that was introduced by Gavin Wood last week at Sub-Zero in Bangkok. So it's pretty fresh, very fresh idea. But yeah, I don't really have time to go much deeper into this, unfortunately. If you want to learn more about this, then we have RFCs. The fellowship is mostly maintaining them, but everybody is welcome to contribute. So you can check this out over here. I will also share a QR code with the link to the slides later. So finally, last slide, how can you contribute? So we have different funding programs. The Decentralized Futures program, it runs until the end of June this year. So it's a limited amount of time only, and it covers around 65 million of funding in fiat and DOT. And then we also have the on-chain treasury, as mentioned earlier. $350 million there, denominated in DOT only. And then we have the W3F grants that has been around already for like 5 years. We have signed over 600 grants. That program is denominated in fiat, so not in DOT. And it focuses only on technical implementations, open source implementations, whereas the other two programs, the treasury is not really a program, but the other two funding mechanisms, they are more versatile, so different kind of projects can be supported there. If you want to learn more and get educated about Polkadot, and there's a EDX course, and there's also the Polkadot Blockchain Academy that took place in multiple times already. This year it was in January in Hong Kong, and then the next edition is going to be in Singapore in May and June. The students learn everything they need to start building on Polkadot. And then we have some other programs that help with decentralizing the community. So the Decentralized Voices is a program to amplify the voices of smaller DOT holders that are very engaged and motivated in the community. And It's very similar for the 1000 validators program, so that's also for people who do not necessarily have like huge amounts of funds to run their own validators and have a huge stake. So that's how people can support it there. Okay, so with that, thanks a lot for your attention. Thank you.
So we have some time for questions if anyone has anything to ask. Here's one.
Hi, thank you, Aldrin. So Kusama, that's pretty unique, right, with how polkadot approaches things, and it's been running for some time. So what are your reflections on having this incentivized cannon network? Would you change anything about it, and what has been great about it so far?
You mean just from a macro point of view,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, the auction model to get this parachain slot, it was kind of difficult for smaller projects to build on polkadot because you had to have a lot of stakes. So in some of these auctions, these slots actually sold for more than $1 million or multiple $1 million. So of course, not everybody has that kind of money, right? And with agile core time, we can make sure that pretty much everybody can build on polkadot. So obviously there is a trade-off because you compromise on security if you choose to not secure on every block. But I think it will massively lower the barrier of entry for smaller projects. Yeah.
Does that mean that with agile core time, Kusama is slightly less necessary?
I wouldn't think so because it's kind of the playground, right, to battle test the code and also incentives before they're going to be deployed on polkadot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the crowd? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
In a few minutes, we'll have Patrick from Oro Protocol